in any day probably you can experience many different emotions that and their intensity keeps on changing. Some are like very high throughout the day while some are very low. Some of them are very easy to deal with while others are like very intense and I would say very difficult to manage. But having said that, the most important thing to understand about these emotions as is that they all have a purpose. Like they all come up with a purpose in your daily schedule or in your life, whatever you can say. They are designed probably to give us some information, what we I would call them as emotion messages. They are just there to deliver those messages and bring our attention to those important things that are happening around us or something. For example, we are having a big fight, so then the anger tells us that we need to avoid such kind of a situation in future, or probably understand why the situation took place and work on it. So uh, like talking about the same things, most people are naturally more comfortable with the good emotions like happiness, joy, and all of those. They are like very comfortable with them. But the issue comes when we jump on to the negative ones, which are anger, sadness, anxiety. But dealing with emotions and having known emotions for quite a long period of time, studying them, it is a common thing that there is no such thing as like a good or a bad emotions. All the emotions we have like have a helpful role to play, though they can be they are not always pleasant, but they always have some role to play. The problem, I feel the problem with emotions, and I'm sure you all will agree with this, is emerges when we get so good at avoiding some emotions that we lose the access to the important function which they probably come to serve, right? So understanding the core concept, understanding the emotion is very important if we have to look after our mental health, or we even have to look out for the stressors in our life. So to the core of that, emotions are the heart of everything. So I'll move on to the next slide. So yeah, what are emotions trying to tell you? Each emotion, as I said, comes up with a particular tagline, I would say. For example, fear would tell me that, oh, you are in danger, while happiness would tell me it is a moment of joy, you've done something good, be happy about it. So in a similar way, every emotion has something or the other to come with it. The only thing we need to do is that recognize what that emotion is trying to tell you, and then apply it to that particular situation. Yeah, so when we talk about emotions, there is a very popular concept about Plutchik's wheel of emotions. So just to give you a small background about it, Robert Plutchik was a great psychologist, and he stated that there are 8 basic emotions. So if you can see the inner circle, wherein ecstasy, admiration, terror, amazement, grief, loathing, rage, vigilance, these are the 8 basic emotions which one can see. So this wheel of emotions was built in order to give more clarity to your emotions, which we can sometimes feel are mysterious or like overwhelming. So it is a basic tool to enable people to describe and be more verbal about their emotions and understand the relationship between the intensity of their feelings. Having said that, I would just like to go back and show you how this Plutchik's wheel of emotions actually works. So probably later on we can share the link with all of you so that you can go yourself and check out how this thing works. But I'll just like to go back and show you. Yeah, okay, so if you guys can see my screen, this is the Plutchik's model which we just saw. Now on this website, what you can do is, in order to explore more into these emotions, to understand what is the intensity of it, so what I will do is, probably if I'm feeling I would say admiration at this moment of time, I go and click on admiration, and here besides that I would get a list of similar words to a list of similar words connected to it, sensations for the same. Here also I can understand what is the intensity. So now it is showing me is the intensity is very high. Now if I click on the low intensity thing, it would go give me like a medium intensity. And what does trust tell you? So as you move away from this petal, as you move from admiration to acceptance, probably the intensity keeps on decreasing. So that is the way you can analyze your emotions. This is not only for the positive emotions. You can see rage also here. Rage is like the intense feeling, like a very high intense feeling for anger, we would say. So here also, if I lower the intensity to medium, if I lower it even more to a low, I would feel annoyance. Then medium would be anger, even more would be rage. So to get into the core of it, or to understand the low intensity levels of a particular emotion, the Plutchik's wheel of emotions helps us. So this is one thing which I wanted to share with you. You guys can have a look at it, have a look at the website once it opens up, once Aditi shares the link for that. Moving further, we will talk about emotional regulation. Now, what is emotional regulation? Quickly, I'll just give you a small definition of what emotional regulation is. So it refers to the ability, I would say, to control one's emotions. We can control our emotions, or the second option is our emotions can control us, which I think most of the times, many a times it happens the other way, that the emotions try to control us. So when our emotions control us, the hierarchy which we follow is that we feel, we act, and we are done with the situation, and then we think about it, which is like feel, act and think, which goes like FAT, which is like fat. But we act like fatheads, and when we finally think, we wish we had acted differently at that moment of time. We would have given us thought while we were reacting to that situation, tried to analyze the situation at that time and then react to it. But very few times does that actually happen. So what can you do? How can you deal such a situation? So to master this art of managing your emotions, we come up with this cycle of emotional regulation, which is very very known in the field of psychology. So what is the cycle of emotion regulation? So it basically starts off with a situation, which is the problem, I would say. Then you try to analyze what thoughts go on through your mind when that particular situation arises. Then you try to analyze what are your body's physical reactions to that. Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling a loss of appetite, red face? These are general things which you can probably relate to anger. When you are feeling angry in a particular situation, you would feel that your body's physical reaction is very different. You feel very anxious, you feel like, you feel that rage in your body probably. At that time, these are the emotions which you feel tense, you feel sad, you feel worried. If we are talking about anger, you feel that heat inside you, and you want to just let out everything, right? And that, a mixture of your body's physical reaction and your emotional or mental state, will determine the kind of behavior which is put forth. So whenever in a situation you need to, you're not sure about, how I can react, you can probably take a step back, think about all of these things, try to analyze situation, and then give out the behavior which would be more accurate at that moment of time. Just to give you an example, probably now we are in a pandemic, so the most of the things which I personally felt was boredom. Like I was bored half of the time, where I was not sure what do I do. So boredom was a situation at that moment. Thoughts like, what should I do? There's nothing to be done. I cannot meet my friends, I cannot go here, I cannot go there. These were the thoughts which were coming to my mind. My body's physical reaction was probably lethargy. I was not able to, push myself up and do something creative, work on my hobbies, or whatever in that case, do my studies, anything. I wasn't able to do that. And the emotions, I would say, I was feeling very low, a bit sad, and this sadness was like unnecessary. There was no reason behind it, right? But I was still feeling it because the rest of the symptoms, like my body's physical reaction and the situation, were all adding on to it. And the behavior which I was portraying was that I was just wasting my time, I was not doing anything. It also eventually led me to being I would say a bit of frustrating, irritating at times. I would start becoming irritating, and this is how the cycle of emotional regulation works. That one thing links to the other. It is not only about your mental state, but also about your physical state. So one thing links to the other, and eventually the behavior which comes out is a mixture and a composition of all of these things. How I can recognize my emotions. So this is one thing which is very common for all of us. Like, we know what emotions are, we know what are the types of emotions, but we don't know how we can recognize these emotions. So these are a few questions which I have put up, which you can ask yourself, which will help you to come to that core emotion which you are feeling at that moment. So you can ask questions like, for example, what happened, why did it happen, how did it make you feel, what did you want to do at that particular moment, what did you do, and what did you actually say, and how did it affect you. So these are the few questions. I'm not saying that you have to always go into the hierarchy and answer each and every question, but whenever you have the time to understand and reflect on the emotion, try asking yourself these questions, and I'm sure that you will get some answer, and you will reach to that core emotion which you are feeling at that moment.